What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest this week is Taylor Verrico, class of 2014. We're going to talk about everything from how she left Quigley High School and made her way to Bethany, and then what she's doing now in her adult life. We're also going to have another episode of Jack's Facts, so make sure you stick around for that. But without further ado, this is Taylor Verrico. What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest this week is Taylor Verrico, class of 2014. Taylor, thank you for being here all the way from North Carolina, recently moved from Louisiana. I would normally give you Turner's tea at this point. And as a Pittsburgh person, you would understand why it's Turner's and not Schneider. Yep. But I haven't figured out how to do that through the camera, so we will move on. I'll mail you some tea.
Thank you. I'll send you my address after we do this.
So Taylor's going to do what we normally do. She's going to tell us how she ended up at Bethany, about her time at Bethany. We'll take a break. We'll come back. She'll tell us about that test that everybody had to take, and then everything that she has done since she left Bethany in 2014. So all the way from Quigley High School. I don't know if I'm even saying that. But
you are Quigley Catholic, which isn't even there anymore. Which
no, as of last year.
I know, it breaks my heart.
So we're in the winter of 2019. You're playing basketball. When does Bethany come on the radar? Were you looking to continue to play basketball? Was that?
Yeah. So I graduated from Quigley in 2010, and Kayla Tarmina, my best friend, actually, went to Quigley, and she went to Bethany. So she's a year older than me, so she went. And I was really, really late with deciding. I knew that I wanted to play college basketball. That was always a thing for me. And I was actually being recruited heavily by Mount Union as well. And I was set on going there. I'm like, I'm going to Mount Union. I'm doing it. And one day in like July, right before I'm about to, go on this college journey, I woke up and I went downstairs, and I just remember telling my parents, like, I'm going to Bethany. And I don't even know what made me switch. I really don't know. But one day I was like, the switch went off, and I'm going to Bethany. And then I just never looked back.
So did Coach Upton recruit you? Because that's who she had recruited you.
Yeah.
Had you already told her, like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Mount, or did you?
Well, yeah. So yeah, she knew that I was like talking to both, but I'm super indecisive. I mean, ask anybody that knows me. I can't make up my mind what I want for dinner. So it's like when I had this huge life decision on my plate, I'm like, oh, I don't know, like what? So, and then I just was talking to Mount Union, and then I told Upton that I'm coming there, and like I said, the rest is history, and I would do it all over again.
And that was a large class. I mean, there was 10 of you. Skylar's in that class with you.
Yeah.
And I'm drawing a blank on that, because you guys are you were the two survivors of that class.
I think there was either 8 or 10. I mean, it was a big class, like you said. So I can't. I mean, that was long ago. So long ago.
So you get to Bethany. What was the biggest transition? And we'll stay on the sports side first. What was the biggest transition from high school basketball to college basketball?
Oh man. So in high school, we were really good. We won section all 4 years that I was there. But we didn't really lift, I guess, so to speak. So when I got to college, the workouts, I mean, I thought we were a track team sometimes. I was like, why are we out on the track, running hundreds and whatever else? But we were, and I think that was the biggest for me. And I don't really like to lift. I still don't like to lift. I never liked to lift.
I mean, I enjoy the occasional stress relief of lifting, and then I regret it.
I don't.
I regret it immediately.
I'm like, Kayla always makes fun of me because she's like, you hated lifting. Like all you wanted to do was go to the calf. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I mean, come on, Chicken Patty Wednesday.
Chicken pat. They don't have that anymore either. And now it's a grilled chicken. It's a very fancy. Yes, it's very healthy. And I don't support it at all. I don't support you can't take Chicken Patty Wednesday.
Patty Wednesday, that was like the best.
Chicken Patty Wednesday and wings on Friday, or wings on Wednesday too, depending on where you ended up. So the academic side of was there a change for you there from high school to college?
Well, so I wasn't quite sure with what I wanted to do. I went into Bethany and my major was Spanish because I was like, okay, let me go. And I wanted to do like international stuff and study abroad and all of that. But I mean, basketball is a full-time job. It was pretty much, I mean, it took up my entire, even the D3 level. I mean, it took up a lot of my time. So when it came, I couldn't just be like, okay, I'm going to miss the whole season and go study abroad. I just, that's not possible. But so I decided to minor in Spanish and then switch to communications because I love sports. So I wanted to, I wasn't ready to give it up. I didn't want to give it up after I had graduated. So I decided, I think my sophomore year or the second semester of my freshman year, I'm not quite sure. It was either the second semester of my freshman year or the beginning of my sophomore year. I decided that I wanted to pursue communications and go in to be a sports reporter. Well, at first, that's a lie, because at first I wanted to become a meteorologist, which is hilarious.
You were going to
So that was actually my internship. I did an internship with what is it, WTOV9 in Steubenville. I did an internship there for meteorology. And then I was like, oh God, this is a lot of like math and science. Like,
I don't want any of that.
Help me out. I'm gonna stick to sports. I'm gonna stick to what I know. So I flip-flopped a lot. There's that indecisiveness, but I mean it's done me well so far.
So with that, with the not knowing and the indecisiveness, I'm guessing, did you utilize the Learning Center and other HT and other aspects of that, or was it more of you focused in on, this is the group I'm with, so I'm going to study with these people? And
I utilized the Learning Center a lot because Caitlin Hackathorn worked in there, so we hung out in there. I guess. So I love Hack, but anyways, so we utilized that. But I mean, as far as I'm really close with my mom, and my mom knows me better than anybody else. So a lot of my career path was talked about with my mom and kind of guided in a way. I have to give my mom some credit because she was like, I think you'd be good at this. And I was like, you know what? Let's try it.
You might be right. You might be onto something here.
You might be onto something. And then I think we had because I wanted to be a meteorologist. So we actually had, I don't know if they have it anymore, but they had like the TV station a little bit for like a minute at Bethany. And I did like a couple of the weathers on it, which is so
we got to go back and find that.
I know. I would love to get my hands on it. I actually have a meteorologist demo reel that is so funny that I go back and I'm like, what in the world was I doing?
So the other aspect, and then we'll get to Hack and Carly and Kayla and Becky Braithwaite and the whole basketball family that was. But the social side. So I pointed out frequently, we all spent many Wednesdays, probably more Wednesdays than we can count, down on Main Street at a place that right now is no longer, but they're under new ownership. We talked about that a little bit. Can you pull one experience and, try to, I don't know, walk that thin line? But
oh man. Like one of my experiences at the bar?
Yes.
Let's see. I do have one because we actually, like I said, it was Kayla's bachelorette weekend 2 weekends ago, and Skylar was there. And when you get together, you just start reminiscing, and you can't really help it. It just happened. And Renee was there too. So it's like, we're all just laughing. So I will tell this story, which is like really funny looking back on it. So I think it was a Saturday. I think because we didn't really go. We did Wednesdays like outside of season, and like I said, basketball takes up the entire school year. So we were going from like August to April, March. So I want to say it was a Saturday, but I like I said, I don't like to lift. And I'm pretty lazy, okay? I'll do cardio or whatever. But if I could get a ride to the bar and back from bar, like I did not ever want to walk, okay? So it was one time everybody left, and I think it was just Skylar and I, and we were like, how are we gonna get back? Like, we really don't want to walk. So I actually fell over and faked a ankle sprain.
So the security would drive. Oh.
It was a cop. It was a cop. So the police officer, I went over and I said, sir, like, I really can't walk. Like, you have to take us home. And I'm like limping, right? And then he was like, all right, get in. So he's like, the whole ride home, Skylar's like, you can't tell our coach, like, she's going to get really upset. So it was a Saturday. It was in basketball season. And we're like, yeah, please don't tell Upton, like, she's really gonna get mad at us. And then he drops us off right at CV, the little hallway thing that everybody, you know what I'm talking about, with the green posts. And as soon as he drops us off, I sprint to my door.
Well, I guess that ankle healed up pretty quickly.
What were you doing? Like, you're literally an idiot.
I know
that's something that flashes before me. That's hilarious. Just stuff like that, kids.
And you pointed it out. We were talking before the show about how you don't realize how stupid you were with this, like the stuff that we did when we were in school. You don't realize it. And then you look back and you're like,
what did I do?
Why? What was going on upstairs when you decided to?
Right? You think like you're so grown or something. Like in high school, you're like, I'm an adult. Like, I can do whatever I want.
Then you get to college and you're like, yep.
Like, I'm more of an adult. Like, yes, I'm on my own now. Like, no, you're not.
And then the sad thing is adult life hits and it's really just bills.
Oh my gosh, I know. I wish I could go back because I'm like, ugh.
I could go for a week. I don't know if my liver or my body could handle going back for any longer.
Another 4 years, right? Like, I couldn't handle. I drink one sip of wine now, and I'm like, oh, so I can't even deal.
So that's one aspect of what the Bethany community was like. You were also a member of Zeta.
I was.
So was that something coming into college you were always going to go Greek, or was it, as I've gotten a lot on this show, I kind of just checked it out and I got into this house and then I kind of enjoyed it?
No, that was something that I wasn't thinking of. That was something that actually I did. And then my friends from back home were like, oh, I never really pegged you as a sorority type, So that was something but that was also something that Kelly, Zogren, Skylar, and I decided to do together. So we did it, and we loved it. Zeta threw some great parties. And you make friends that way. You make other friends, because we were all really close with the basketball team, but you make friends outside of basketball, which is awesome. So, and then you get to be a part of good causes and all of that. So,
well, in the small community here, you got it. You almost have to get yourself involved in as much. And I guess that leads into my next question. So you were involved in athletics. You were involved in Greek life. Was there anything else that took up Taylor's time here at Bethany?
No, I think I was pretty booked. I mean, I was really busy in school. And then it's like now with the coronavirus and everything, I'm like, man, I wish I was doing something.
What am I supposed to do? What do I do
But when I was in school, I mean, you were always doing something, but you were also around a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I mean, it's different.
I've tried to explain the Bethany and maybe the Bethany experience, our bubble, our Bethany
It
bubble.
really is a bubble, and everybody knows everybody, and it's like
good, bad, and indifferent. You have there's no, you can hide in Bethany, but you can't hide in Bethany if that, like,
no,
you might be able to hide from home. You might be able to avoid things because you're in the woods, but everybody here knows
what's going on. I know. I tell everyone, I'm like, I've talked to some young kids wanting to get into journalism and everything, and I always tell them, like, make sure you enjoy the college experience as well. Like, you're there to learn and get a degree and all of that, but like those were the best 4 years of my life. So it's
like this.
Exactly. And the friends that I've made, like Kayla and Scott, well, Kayla, I went to grade school, high school, and college with her. So it's a little different. But like the other friends that I've made from my basketball team and from Zay, like it's lifelong. It really is. It's like I could call them and I don't live right next to them, but Skylar would book a flight and be here if I needed her. So it's just like, and Kayla's a 2-hour drive away. So it really is just so unique. And I'm so thankful for the experience. I love Bethany.
So we've been throwing these names out here left and right.
I know. I just think about all of them when I think about Bethany.
Well, and there were, I would say there were 4 real families of groups at Bethany. You had your basketball teams, which you guys were not an exclusive group. You went everywhere, but it was teams. The softball and baseball team also kind of moved in hordes of people.
Yep. No, that's so true.
You had your football team, which was broken up into whatever defense, offense, this guy, that guy. I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm from Maryland, whatever the groups were. And then you had your whatever respected sorority and groups like that, your Greek groups, your other volleyball was that is another one. I almost I forget volleyball. They moved in, like, there was always 12 of them and they all were taller than me, and it was never fun.
We were close with the volleyball girls too.
So let's talk about that, the basketball experience here at Bethany, because you said you were used to there was a lot of success in high school. There was a lot of adversity here at the college level. You ran into that Thomas More that probably should not have been in the section or in the conference anyways. Lord. But every other team minus W&J for a couple of years, you guys always seemed to really battle right in that middle of that pack. How did you guys form that family that you had, the family dynamic, I guess?
I think especially my sophomore year, like when Audra and Annie and Hack and Renee and Kayla and Carly, and we were really close then. And I don't really even know how it happened and how we were all that close, but I think it was like we all lived in CV together and by each other, and then we would just, everybody was so welcoming that it just happened. And then you get a few drinks and then you get closer, and then it's like and then you're also like experiencing the same things, right? So we're hanging out, we're going to the caf together, we're going to practice together, which is a lot of, you just experience life together. So that's what brings us closer.
Well, and I feel like you guys, I think that was passed down to that group, Hack and Annie and Audra and them, and I think they passed it down to you guys, and you guys passed it. I mean, it seemed like it never, I can't speak for what the program is now. I know Coach Sampson is a phenomenal coach. I think that I think they're a very young team right now that's going to be very competitive in the next couple of years. But I don't see the dynamic. Like when we went to school together, it was easy to well, basketball practice must be done. Here they come, right through.
Here they come. There they are, all of them.
So,
I know.
But I think that's again one of those great things, and I think that's a great thing about sports is the family that you build, especially. You go from high school. I guarantee you can pull high school players that you played with that were on that senior year team. You can pull names right now, just like you can of your time at Bethany, but you can remember each one of those years at Bethany as, oh, I remember when they graduated. I remember when they were done, and then
Yep.
lastly, you and Skylar sitting there staring at each other going, hey, well, we made it.
Yep, we made it. It's crazy to think about, but those really were. I mean, I would, as much complaining as you do in school, because it's like, oh, I don't want to go to practice today. And, oh, I don't want to, like, I'd do it all over again.
Well, I think
like you said, maybe a little tamer this time since I'm going to be 20, but
yeah, I definitely might put more, I could speak for me. I would put a little bit more focus into that whole, like, the daylight time of going to class. It was a very important thing, apparently, that I missed for 2 years.
That you missed.
Just didn't understand.
I always skip class. I always went. I was always one of those people that went to class.
Yeah, for some reason it got lost in translation. I didn't get the right packet, and they just said, like, oh yeah, if you want to come, you can come. Oh,
you turned out just fine.
Well, we're gonna take a break right there. I'm gonna send it to a fellow Bethanian. Is that how you say it? Bethanian? I don't know. Fellow alumni, KJ Kieran Dunn with Maple Shades Outdoors. If you haven't yet, get on YouTube, subscribe to his channel, follow him on Instagram, and pressure him into getting hats and shirts, because I want to wear some merchandise, and he's got a cool logo. But Taylor, we'll be right back. KJ, take it away.
What's going on, everybody? This is Kieran Dunn, founder of Maple Shade Outdoors. You're currently watching Dingo Talk with my man Carlo. If you're anything like me and you're really enjoying this content, you should like and subscribe his page. While you're on YouTube, you should probably just head over and like and subscribe Maple Shade Outdoors. Check out our page, enjoy some videos, some outdoor content. You might as well hop on Instagram, Facebook, follow us, Maple Shade Outdoors. Now that's enough about me. I'm trying to get back and watch the rest of Dingo Talk, so I'll talk to y'all later.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest this week is Taylor Verrico, class of 2014. Taylor, we left off. We were talking about basketball and how it was a full-time job.
You're taking me down memory lane here, Carlo.
Wow, that's part of that's what we're supposed to do here. We're supposed to get all the memory.
Good thing.
Good answer. We're gonna move to another full-time job that Bethany provides. It's after 4 years, you get 2 weeks to basically question everything you did in your 4 years there and wonder why. What did I do to deserve this test that I have to take? Comprehensive exams. So comp week, let's go study week.
I'm like sweating thinking about it.
So
I'm like sweaty palms, right? You say comps and I'm like,
we're going to go with the study week first. So that week that you get to just cram as much as you can. What was your study tactic?
Well, definitely not Red Bull, because I drank like 3 of those and had to like quit that day because I was like, so no, when I think I studied all day, every day, pretty much. And when I think about comps, I think about Emily Stinner. Do you remember Emily Stinner?
Emily Stinner, absolutely.
Love Emily Stinner, but she was like my saving grace for comps. I mean, we literally studied and studied and studied and woke up. I mean, it was just, we studied for like, I mean, it was a week straight. We studied like all day. And I mean, we studied before the week, but we really hit it hard like that week.
Emily is the reason for all of you calm people out there that have touched the Bible. That is why we have the Bible, because Emily Stinner.
I forget who gave me. I think it was Lauren.
It was. I know Lauren has a large part of the binder that
gave me a. I want to say I think it was her, and then we studied with that, and then I gave it to Ryan Meyer because Skylar. And then I don't know what he did. He might be holding it hostage. I don't know.
So for all of you that need the Bible, contact Ryan.
Contact Skylar and Ryan.
So you study for that whole week. You get to Monday, first test of the day. What's the
Okay.
first reaction when you walk, you get down to your seat, you open your manila folder? What's going through your mind?
I'm just like, I got to get it over with.
Just in and out,
Like,
I'm done.
I'm just like here, because at that point, it's like you've worked so hard that it's just like, okay, it's happening. And then you flip open that page and you're like, oh God. But I felt like I was prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So when in life, right, when you prepare for anything, you feel more confident.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not just going to go do an ESPN sideline game and not know what to say. So you have to.
But it's probably not going to happen. It's not going to work out. I mean, it might.
Probably not, but you have to prepare. So I think when I sat down and did that, now you're bringing me real back because I'm thinking of those green chairs in the
in Weimar.
Yep. When we were spread out, and I'm like, well, it wasn't COVID, but we were spread.
Social distance before social distancing.
Social distancing before social distance. So now I'm like thinking to myself, and I sit down, and I'm, oh man, and I just said, okay, it's go time. Let's do this.
So you get through the written part. You go into oral.
Monday and Tuesday? I forget.
Monday was, I believe, 2 tests. Tuesday was your specialty. Like for us in comm, it was like I had the sports track.
Oh yeah.
It was your whatever your track was, or it could have been just general communications. I don't know because I think they rotated how they did them, but I know it's 3 written.
Okay. Now I'm starting to remember. And then you had your in-person,
your oral exams. So you have orals. First off, do you remember who was on your oral board?
Emmy and Dr. Smith, I think, and Sutherland. Do I have them all 3? Can I have them all 3?
You could have all 3, and there's normally like somebody that wasn't a comm professor, like a Ken Morgan, a Corelli. Was there somebody that was an oddball, or did they just give you? Because that could have been because that was early Jason Smith.
I think I had all comm. I think I had Jason Smith, Emmy, and Dr. Sutherland. I think
what a panel.
I know that was a tough crowd.
That is a rough crowd.
I just remember being so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in like my little suit. I'm like, they're like, okay, wait out there. And I'm like, oh man.
So you get your button and you walk out the big wooden door by Boomers.
And my mom had, mimosas waiting.
So the relief.
I passed. So that was like, oh God, you just feel like, okay, you passed, like, good job. And you're like, oh, thank God.
I'm out. Free. They can't do nothing.
Like, oh, thank God.
So
now I can life.
That leads into you depart from Bethany, and
I did. We
that's
departed
your
from
first stint in North Carolina, correct?
Oh man, yeah. So I graduated from Bethany, moved back home for a little while with my parents, and I was like, what am I gonna do with my life? So I was bartending for a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. I got to do something here. And then I interviewed with a company, with a radio station in like Ohio or something, but that didn't work out. I was like, all right, I got to do something. So I decided, because like I said in our first part, that basketball took up my entire life. So I felt like I needed a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So when I graduated, I decided to go to broadcasting school. So I moved to Charlotte and I did that. And I lived in Charlotte for 2 years. Mm-hmm. I had 4 internships at one time, which is crazy to look back at. I'm like, oh my goodness. I interned with the Charlotte Hornets, which was awesome. Like, that's my dream. I love the NBA. And then I interned with WBTV, a TV station there, Davidson College, mm-hmm. where Steph Curry went, which was pretty cool. He's like everywhere in that gym. And then I did a YouTube. I interned at a YouTube channel. It's called Charlotte Vibe. I went to like every Panthers home game and did like a post game recap and went into the locker room, did all that. So I had all of those, which ended up actually being, that's where I got my first job.
Mhm.
So I got on with WBTV. So what I did was, when I was done with when I graduated from broadcasting school, I was bartending in Charlotte 2 nights a week, and then I was working at the TV station on the weekends. I would do 11, or what was my schedule? My schedule was Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Woo!
Every Saturday and Sunday. And I did that for over a year. And through that, I still worked with the sports department. So I was able to build my demo reel.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind enough to like let me take the equipment out, shoot my own stand-ups, and then I was able to do like in studio stuff. Like I would go and I would rewrite the anchor at the Times shows, and then they would tape it, and then I put together a demo reel, and I literally sent my demo reel from, I mean, 1,000 places. From PA to California.
We talked a couple years ago about, when I put my demo out at first, it was, how do I do this? And you were like, look, it's going to be 1,000, maybe 2, but one of them
somebody's gonna bite.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to bite. So I had 2 places bite. I had Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, and then Lake Charles, Louisiana. And then it ended up just working out with Louisiana. So then I lived there for almost 4 years, which is crazy to think about, but that's where I started my career. So, but without doing that, I wouldn't be able, because right now I'm just freelancing for like ESPN3.
Mm-hmm.
So without that job, I wouldn't have been able to get my foot in the door with the other stuff that I've been able to continue.
Well, so you were, I might have missed something, but I know it was high school, a lot of high school football, a lot of college football. Yeah. A lot of high school and college basketball.
Yeah.
And
we were like local first. I mean, okay. We did primarily high school, but McNeese, mm-hmm. They're in the South Conference. So we covered them heavily. LSU, the Saints, but I got to go to the national championship game. Come on. That was like the highlight of my career.
Absolutely.
Like LSU winning the national championship, Joe Burrow, come on. Greatest football team of all time.
And being there firsthand for it.
I'm getting paid to be there.
You can't complain. So
I know. I'm so thankful for Louisiana, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing since it's been like a roller coaster since comps.
So, well, and comps itself was a roller coaster.
Right? It's been like I've been on this roller coaster thing called life.
Can we just stop with the hills for a little bit? Maybe a little
like cruise control.
So being that you enjoy sports, that you work in sports, and that you worked with, you've seen the Division I level, you've seen the Division III level firsthand. That leads into my last 2 questions.
Okay.
First, why Division III? Like if somebody's watching right now, that an athlete that, they're maybe a junior and they're looking at they might not be the tallest or the fastest, and they're not getting recruited heavily by the D1 or D2, but they're getting the D3 schools are starting to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Why should they not? Because again, you said you're Mount Union and Bethany. There's 2 Division III schools. What made you stay Division III, and why? I guess why? Why would why is Division III beneficial?
Well, because I wanted to actually play. If we're being honest, I knew that I could have gone D1. I definitely could have and had my everything paid for or whatever, but I wanted to be on the court. I wanted to get there my freshman year and have a real chance at like playing all 4 years. That's what I wanted. And I also like we talked about Quigley Catholic, where I went to high school. That was a school that didn't even have, I graduated with like 50 kids in my class. I mean, it was small. And then I went, I went to grade school where it was the same. I had like 20 kids in my class. So I was used to like a small, environment. and I just fell in love with Bethany, and Kayla loved it there, and I just wanted to be a part of it, honestly. And like I said, I wanted to play. I wanted to give myself the best. I mean, I'm not 6'5", you know. I'm not a 6'5" post player like gonna score 40 a game. Like, I was realistic with myself. I was like, well, I want to be somewhere that's close to home, like far enough away, but close enough where I can, because Bethany was an hour from my house. So it was like far enough away, but close enough. But people ask me that all the time. They're like, well, and Kayla and I talk about it too. And it's like, but it was still a job. I mean, people think Division III and they think, oh, that's easy. Like, you
intramural basketball.
You didn't have to do anything. I was like, no, actually, like, we had very serious workouts. Like I said earlier, we thought we were a track team at times. You know, we had to eat certain things. We weren't allowed to eat like before games. We had restrictions on what we could and could not eat. Like when we were in season, it was very serious. It wasn't like nonchalant. It was serious. So we had weight training. Like, we had everything that, you know, Division I schools have, but Division I schools are, you know, obviously a little bit more intense, but we were still intense.
Yeah.
I mean, it still was a full-time job.
Well, and you started to touch on it a little bit. The second question is, why Bethany specifically? Like, if you were pitching Bethany to somebody right now, why should they come to Bethany?
Because it's beautiful and it's in the middle of nowhere and everyone's gonna know your business. No, I'm just kidding.
Two of those things were good. I wasn't ready for the third one.
No, but that's like kind of serious, because you get to develop relationships where it's like you're close, you know, and life's all about relationships. You know, you can make all this money and have no relationship.
Absolutely.
But I'm big on connecting with people and establishing relationships that are lifelong and friendships. And I believe that Bethany can do that for everyone. I just love Bethany so much that I think that everybody should go to Bethany.
Everybody should go right now.
Everybody should go to Bethany. Let's recreate Bubba's.
Transfer wherever you are, transfer out. We're going to build new dorms. We're going to get a new bar in town. And you can still stop down and see Harry Chambers, because he'll still be here.
Chambers. Yep. Let's get it going. No, but Bethany just, like I said, I don't know why I flipped at the last minute to go to Bethany, but I count my blessings every day that I did, because my life it wouldn't be the same without Bethany. So I love it.
Well, Taylor, we've gotten to the end of the show. We brought up Chambers. I have to send it first to Harry, who has his own segment now that he interviews Jack Hoffman, who I had on the show earlier in the month. It's called Jack's Facts. And then Harry will send it to Harry, who will tell you about the store and the shirts and everything else that he has to offer. But I wanted to say thank you very much. I know that, you know, in this COVID time, it's hit or miss with your schedule where we could get this in. So I'm glad that we could get you on the show. And this has been Taylor Verrico, class of 2016. Thank you. And the next time you're up this way, I owe you a jug of tea.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me, Carlo.
Absolutely. You have a great day.
You too.
One of the many things that people talk about of Bethany is the trolley that ran from Wellsburg to Bethany. Let's start with, why was it called the Tunerville trolley?
Because it was, you know, it was similar going up and down the hills like the cartoon, the Tunerville trolley.
Okay, so it was an old cartoon that was about.
Yeah, there was an old cartoon, that needed pulled up by rope up the hill and then just pushed over and down the hill.
Let her roll down the other side. We've got some great pictures of the trolley. Anybody that doesn't remember or knows where the cut through on 67 are, there's used to be tunnels that the trolley went through. And imagine if you were coming through there driving your car, your Model A or Model T Ford, you had to wait and hope the trolley wasn't coming. If you met in the tunnel, you were in trouble.
Well, there were kids that would go there for a nickel. You know, you'd throw them a nickel and they'd wave you through. There'd be one on each end, and they would.
Did you give them the nickel before or after you got through safely?
Before.
Before? Oh, okay. Well, then it was going to be ugly if you did.
He didn't wave you through. Otherwise, you'd have to back out.
Of course, the Toonerville trolley was supposed to go all the way to Washington at one point, wasn't it?
Yes, it was intended to go to Washington, and this was the flattest route to Washington, Pennsylvania.
But it never made it past. How far did it go in town? Do you know? Did it go to the
Yeah, right at the end of the street.
all the way to the old meeting house?
No, well, before you go down the hill.
Okay.
And I think at one time it was pushed beyond that. They had to tow it back up and put it back on the tracks.
I know Whip Cramble talked about the first time the trolley came to town. It was on a Sunday. And they were all in church, and the bell rang, and they all left church. So it must have not have been a real good sermon that day.
Well, his dad was doing a sermon.
Okay.
That was the reason he left. He snuck out, he said. He had to go see the trolley.
All right. Of course, the most famous part of the Toonerville trolley is the Toonerville trolley wreck at the bottom of Buchanan's Hill. If you haven't seen that, any legends of ghost stories that happened at the bottom of Buchanan's Hill from the people who passed?
Not that I'm aware of. There was one guy that died. His name was Wally. He had an apple orchard and a flour mill down by McKinleyville. And he was walking through, he couldn't hear very well. And he was walking through the tunnel and the trolley hit him.
Oh, wow.
The light on the thing is only a little dinky light.
And then isn't there a historical marker down there, Wallflower Mill? Didn't they pay for those tunnels to be put in originally?
They built the tunnel.
So that local farmers could get their sweet to their mill?
You've just watched another exciting episode of Dingo Talk, recorded in the secret lair deep in the hills of Bethany, West Virginia. Let me give a shout out to my man Don over at Maple Shade Outdoor. He's got some great stuff going on over there on YouTube and Instagram. Please make sure you check him out. Also, now available as promised, we have the second edition Bethany, West Virginia Mushroom Capital of the World t-shirts and our Chambers General Store. If we don't have it, you don't need it t-shirts. Available in all sizes. So make sure you stop by the store for a t-shirt, breakfast sandwich, our sausage biscuits and gravy, and make sure to check out those daily lunch specials. Now back to you, Dingo.
By now, you wanna know about